ಈಗ ಬುದ್ಧ ವಂದನೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇವೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೈ ಜೋಡಿಸಿ ಕುಳಿತುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆ ಭಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಭಗವಾನ್ ಬುದ್ಧರನ್ನು, ಅವರ ಧಮ್ಮ ಸಂಘವನ್ನು ನೆನೆಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ನಮೋ ತಸ್ಸ ಭಗವತೋ ಅರಹತೋ ಸಮ್ಮಾ ಸಂಬುದ್ಧಸ್ಸ. ನಮೋ ತಸ್ಸ ಭಗವತೋ ಅರಹತೋ ಸಮ್ಮಾ ಸಂಬುದ್ಧಸ್ಸ. ನಮೋ ತಸ್ಸ ಭಗವತೋ ಅರಹತೋ ಸಮ್ಮಾ ಸಂಬುದ್ಧಸ್ಸ. ಇತಿಪಿಸೋ ಭಗವಾ ಅರಹಂ ಸಮ್ಮಾ ಸಂಬುದ್ಧೋ ವಿದ್ಯಾಚರಣ ಸಂಪನ್ನೋ ಸುಗತೋ ಲೋಕವಿದೋ ಅನುತ್ತರೋ ಪುರಿಸಧಮ್ಮ ಸಾರಥಿ ಸತ್ತಾ ದೇವ ಮನುಸಾನ ಬುದ್ಧೋ ಭಗವತಿ. ನಮೋ ತಸ್ಸ ಸಮ್ಮಾ ಸಂಬುದ್ಧಸ್ಸ. ಸ್ವಾಖಾತೋ ಭಗವತಾ ಧಮ್ಮೋ ಸಂದಿಷ್ಠಿಕೋ ಅಕಾಲಿಕೋ ಯೇಹಿ ಪಾಸಿಕೋ ಓಪನೈಕೋ ಪಾಶ್ಚಾತ್ತಂ ವೇದಿತಪೋ ವಿನ್ಯೋಹಿತಿ. ನಮೋ ತಸ್ಸ ನಿಯಾನಿಕಸ್ಸ ಧಮ್ಮಸ್ಸ. ಸುಪಟಿಪನ್ನೋ ಭಗವತೋ ಸಾವಕ ಸಂಘೋ ಭುಜುಪಟಿಪನ್ನೋ ಭಗವತೋ ಸಾವಕ ಸಂಘೋ. ನ್ಯಾಯಪಟಿಪನ್ನೋ ಭಗವತೋ ಸಾವಕ ಸಂಘೋ. ಸಾಮೀಚಿಪಟಿಪನ್ನೋ ಭಗವತೋ ಸಾವಕ ಸಂಘೋ. ಯದಿದಂ ಚತ್ವಾರಿ ಪುರುಷ ಯುಗಾನಿ ಅಷ್ಠ ಪುರುಷ ಪುಗ್ಗಲ. ಯೇ ಸ ಭಗವತೋ ಸಾವಕ ಸಂಘೋ. ಆಹುನೇಯೋ ಪಾಹುನೇಯೋ ದಕ್ಷಿಣೇಯೋ ಅಂಜಲಿ ಕರಣೀಯೋ. ಅನುತ್ತರಂ ಪುಣ್ಯಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಂ ಲೋಕಸಾತಿ. ನಮೋ ತಸ್ಸ ಅಷ್ಠ ಅರಿಯ ಪುಗ್ಗಲ ಮಹಾಸಂಘಸ್ಸ. ವಿಪತ್ತಿ ಪಟಿವಾಹಾಯ ಸಬ್ಬ ಸಂಪತ್ತಿ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಯ. ಸಬ್ಬ ದುಃಖಂ ವಿನಾಶಾಯ ಸಬ್ಬ ಭಯಂ ವಿನಾಶಾಯ. ಸಬ್ಬ ರೋಗಂ ವಿನಾಶಾಯ ಭವೇದೇಘ ಯುಕದಾಯಕಂ. ಸಬ್ಬ ಲೋಕಂ ಹಿತಾಯ ಪರೇತಂ ತಂ ಭನಾಮಹೇ. ಸಮಂತ ಚಕ್ರವಾಳೇಷು ಅತ್ರ ಗಚ್ಚಂತು ದೇವತಾ. ಸದ್ಧಮ್ಮಂ ಮುನಿರಾಜಸ್ಸ ಸುನಂದು ಸಾಗಮೋ ಗದಂ. ಧಮ್ಮ ಶ್ರವಣ ಕಾಲೋ ಅಯಂ ಭದಂತ. ಧಮ್ಮ ಶ್ರವಣ ಕಾಲೋ ಅಯಂ ಭದಂತ. ಧಮ್ಮ ಶ್ರವಣ ಕಾಲೋ ಅಯಂ ಭದಂತ. ನಮೋ ತಸ್ಸ ಭಗವತೋ ಅರಹತೋ ಸಮ್ಮಾ ಸಂಬುದ್ಧಸ್ಸ. ಕರಣೀಯಮಥ ಕುಶಲೇನ ಯಾಂತಂ ಸಂತಂ ಪದಂ ಅಭಿಸಮೇಚ್ಛ. ಸಕೋ ವುಜೋ ಚ ಸುಜೋ ಚ ಸುವಚೋ ಚ ಸಮುದೋ ಅನತಿಮಾನಿ. ಸಂತೋಷಕೋ ಚ ಸುಭರೋ ಚ ಅಪಕಿಚ್ಚೋ ಚ ಸಲ್ಲಹುಕವೋತಿ. ಶಾಂತೇಂದ್ರಿಯೋ ಚ ನಿಪಕೋ ಚ ಅಪಗಭೋ ಕುಲೇಸು ಅನನುಗೆದ್ದೋ. ನ ಚಕೋದ್ದಂ ಸಮಾಚರೇ ಕಿಂಚಿ येन वेन्यो परे उपवदेयो Sukhino va khemino hontu sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata ye keci pana bhutati tasavatha varava anavasesa Dighava ye mahantava Madhimara sakano kathula Dethava yeva aditha Rechadore vasanti avidure Bhutava sambhave siva Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata Na paro parang niko betha Nyati manne takhatta chinang kanchi Vyaro sanapatighasanya Nanya manya sadokhamichaya Mata yatha niyang potang Ayusaye kapotamanurake Evang pisabha bhutesu manasang bhavaye aparimanang Metan cha sabha lokasming manasang bhavaye aparimanang Buddhang adho chatiriyancha asang badhang averang asapatang Tetang charang nisinova sayanova yavata savigatamido Yetang sating aditteya dhammametang viharang idhamahu Deteng cha anupagamma silava dasanena sampanno Kame sovinaya gedang nahi jatu gabhaseyang punaretiti Dukha patachani dukha bhaya patachani bhaya Soka patachani soka Om tu sabbe pipanino Sabbetiyo vivajanto sabbarogo vinasatu Mate bhavatvantarayo sukhe digayuko bhava Bhavato sabba mangalang rakhanto sabba devata Sabba buddhanubhavena Sada sothi bhavantu te Bhavato sabba mangalang rakhantu Bhadevata Sabba dhammanubhavena Sada sothi bhavantu te Bhavato sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata Sabba sanghanubhavena sada sothi bhavantu te Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu
Homage to Buddha, the Enlightened One. Gratitude to the Sangha for preserving and propagating the Dhamma. Gratefulness to Bodhisattva Babasaheb Ambedkar for initiating us into this Sadhamma and giving us one of the best constitution. Most venerable monks here on the dais, distinguished guests, meritorious upasaks, upasikas, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today we all have gathered here to celebrate the Buddha Jayanti and Babasaheb Ambedkar Jayanti together. And in this background, we are having a 2 days National Buddhist Conference. The topic of this Buddhist conference is Propagation of Buddhism in Modern Times. So someone may have doubt that why propagation, why not preservation? If you preserve, is that not enough? Why you are taking the term propagation? Or in other words, is preservation itself propagation? Or is the propagation that is real preservation? If you see the history, throughout the history, right from starting from Buddha to Ashoka to Babasaheb Ambedkar, then you will understand why the term propagation is important. Even if you see in one place, Babasaheb has said that as the seed requires watering, a thought or a teaching requires propagation. Without water, the seed dies. Similarly, without propagation, the thought or the teachings also die away. So as important is the water for the seed, similarly is important the propagation for any teaching. If you see during Buddha's time, when Buddha got enlightenment, and the first discourse he gave was on the Guru Poornima, which we celebrate in this month, which is on 27th. On this Guru Poornima day, Buddha gave his first discourse, and it came to be known as Dhamma Chakka Pavatana Sutta. And that very Dhamma Chakka we have on our national flag. And this went on throughout the rainy season, and after 3 months, 60 monks became Arahant. And when the rainy retreat was over, the Varshavasa was over, then Buddha told them, Charata Bhikkave Charikang, Bahujan Hitaya, Bahujan Sukaya, Lokanu Kampaya. Go forth, wander, O monks, for the benefit of many, for the happiness of many, out of compassion for the people of the world. And it is from that time that monks have been wandering, traveling to propagate the teachings of the Buddha. And as a rule, they are supposed to stay in one place during the rainy retreat for 3 months. That is, it starts from July Guru Poornima till October Poornima. And rest of the 9 months, they have to wander, they have to travel, they have to propagate. So the first message of propagation was given by Buddha himself when he said, Charata Bhikkave Charigang, Bahujan Hitaya, Bahujan Sukaya. And with that tradition, the monks went on, and today, Buddhism has become a world religion. If you see, Buddhism is the only Indian religion today to become a world religion. Buddha is the only Indian Guru to become Jagat Guru. Others may also have the title Jagat Guru, but the neighboring state doesn't know who he is. But if you go throughout the world and you say Buddha, they recognize. So the real Jagat Guru of India is Buddha. And therefore, this Guru Poornima is also celebrated from Buddha's time. It is Buddha's Guru Poornima, not any Tom, Dick or Harry's Guru Poornima. So this we have forgotten because a lot of history we don't know. So right from that that is how the propagation started. And this propagation cannot be just by one means. That's why we said propagation in modern times. As the time changes, we have to use different means, different ways of communicating the Dhamma to the people. And especially in modern times, Buddhism can be very easily and very convincingly be communicated to the people of the world. Why? Because today's world is a scientific world. And Buddha's religion is a scientific religion. It is not as a Buddhist monk I am telling. It is Albert Einstein, who is considered to be the father of modern science. He himself has said, I quote, if there is any religion that would cope with modern scientific needs, it would be Buddhism. This is what Albert Einstein has said. So that is why, even if you see in the West, so many people are taking up Buddhism. It is only in India that people think that those who are anti-caste, they are only taking Buddhism. This is a kind of normal thinking that Indians have. But it is not so. It is not because they are against the caste. That is one of the reasons. But that is not the only reason for people to come to Buddhism. Because if that is the only reason, then in the West there is no caste problem. Yet why so many people are coming towards Buddhism? Whether you take Australia, Europe, America, Russia, why people are, there is no caste problem there. Yet people are coming towards Buddhism. Why? Because there the people are very highly educated. There the scientific education is developed a lot. And once a person becomes educated, he starts thinking rationally. Once he develops the scientific temper, he starts thinking in a logical manner, in a rational manner. And once a person starts thinking in a rational manner with a scientific temper, he is bound to appreciate Buddhism, but nothing else. That is why in the West, so much of propagation on its own it is happening. People are just going onto the internet, reading and coming to the viharas. Reading the books, coming to the viharas. So therefore, in modern times, if we can propagate Buddhism, it is not necessary that Buddhism should be propagated as a religion. Of course, that is a minor part. Buddhism should be taken as a scientific experimental path. As Buddha said, don't accept just because I am saying so, or my scriptures say so, or my monks say so. You yourself analyze, rationalize, use your scientific temper, and then if you appreciate, you accept it and implement it in your life. So therefore, this is not a compulsion. That is why one of the qualities of the Buddha is ehipasiko. Buddha says, come and see. Normally when it comes to religion, people say, come and believe. If you believe, then only things will happen. If you don't believe, nothing will happen. But here is a Buddha who says, no need to believe, come and see. That means, come and understand, come and experience. If you experience, automatically you will understand. If you understand, you will appreciate and you will practice. There is no need to blindly believe things. In fact, belief cannot be a precondition to your experience. Belief is the after effect of your experience. Like for example, now here you have a Buddha's photograph. If I have to show you this Buddha's statue or a photograph, I will say, come and see, here is a Buddha's statue. I won't tell you, come and believe, here is a Buddha statue. Will I say that? Why? Because Buddha is there, you can see, you can experience. Therefore I say, come and see Buddha. Yes, if the Buddha statue is not here, then I have to tell you, come and believe, here is a Buddha statue. That means, the term belief is used only where the thing does not exist, or you can't see, or you can't understand, or you can't experience, then only we have to tell, believe, believe, believe. But if you can see things, if you can understand things, if you experience things, is there a need for me to tell you to believe? No need. So therefore, the propagation should be based on the rationality. Rationality should be developed in the human beings. So in the name of education, it is not just making people money-earning machines. The education is to develop rationality among people. They should develop rational thinking and scientific temper. Once this is developed, then same rational thinking and scientific temper should be applied to our religion and religious scriptures also. In India, many people say, no, rationality, scientific temper is okay. People are working in scientific institutions, scientific organizations. But if you see at the home, they are full of blind beliefs, superstitious. Such a contradiction. Why? Because they say, no, that scientific temper, rationality is only up to profession. In religion, we cannot apply that. Religion is beyond scientific experiments. This is the attitude. And therefore, so much of blind belief and superstition. But if we start applying rationality and scientific temper, even into the religion, even into the religious scriptures, most of the blind beliefs, superstitious practices, they all will go away on its own. So therefore, today there is a need to bring in this rational thinking and scientific temper into religious practices, into religious scriptures, analyze them, rationalize them, and then accept if it is beneficial to you. So now, as I said, this propagation started with Buddha, then when Ashoka's time if you come. Ashoka was the person who almost conquered whole of India. And he became Dhamma Ashoka. And then he sent many monks, north, south, east, west, everywhere to the foreign countries to propagate Buddha's teaching. Not only that, he donated his own son and daughter, Mahendra and Sanghamitta, to the Sangha, and this Arhat Mahendra and Arhat Sanghamitta went to Sri Lanka, and they were the people who established Buddhism in Sri Lanka. So this is how it spread to all the neighboring countries. So this is propagation. If you imagine if Buddha would have thought, or if Ashoka would have thought, let me preserve Buddhism in India. If they would have preserved and not propagated, if the Buddhism was lost in India, if you see after Pushyamitra Sunga's attack, then the whole world would have lost. But because they propagated during Buddha's time and during Ashoka's time, so when we lost Buddhism in India, we were able to get it back from our neighboring countries like Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand. And Babasaheb himself went to these countries, attended the World Buddhist Conference, and then he was very much inspired, and he came back, and in 1956, he gave this Buddha Dhamma Diksha. So that from this history, you can see that the real preservation is in propagation. If you propagate, then only you are preserving Dhamma. If you don't propagate, if you just keep it to your particular community, your particular caste, then that religion may not last, it may sometime disappear. So this propagation, working for the welfare of humanity is very much important. That's why we see now in Indian religions, Sikhism is the Indian religion, but it is not a world religion. Jainism is the Indian religion, but it's not a world religion. Hinduism is the Indian religion, but it is not a world religion. Why? Because they don't have this spirit of propagation. They want to confine themselves in the name of caste, in the name of sect, in the name of particular gotra, tradition. They want to confine. Therefore, they can never spread their religion to the masses. And Buddhism is the only humanitarian religion. It is a human-centered religion. And therefore, wherever humans are there, Buddhism is required, and therefore it spreads all over the world. So therefore, if any religion has to be preserved, it has to be propagated. The propagation is real preservation. Preservation is not propagation. This we have to understand. Now to explain this in a more detailed manner, I would like to give you a story, because through story you understand very well. Now once there was a couple, old couple, they had 4 sons, and therefore the 4 daughter-in-laws. And it so happened after very aged, around 70s, 80s, the mother-in-law expired. And as you know, in these old days, the whole bunch of keys and responsibility was given to the head of the family, a woman. Woman used to take care of all the family. Even the treasury keys, the gold, silver, everything, the woman used to take care of. The head woman who was there, she used to take care. So now that the mother-in-law was expired, then this father-in-law thought, now my wife has passed away. Now these 4 daughter-in-laws are there. This bunch of key has to be given to any one of them. But then they have to be capable. I cannot give to any daughter-in-law who is not able to manage the home affairs and preserve all the traditional wealth we have gathered. So they should be worthy of it. So I have to put a test to them. Then only I can hand over this bunch of keys. So he called his 4 daughter-in-laws and he said, look, your mother-in-law has passed away, and now any one of you have to take the responsibilities. So I'm going to hand over this bunch of keys to one of you. But there is a test for you. I am giving this 5 grains to each of you. You have to preserve these 5 grains. I will go for a pilgrimage. After 2 or 3 years, I will come back. And whoever will properly preserve these 5 grains, she will get the bunch of keys. He said so, and he distributed these 5 grains to these 4 daughter-in-laws, and then he went away on pilgrimage. The first daughter-in-law saw these 5 grains, and she said, "What happened to this old father-in-law? Has he gone mad? Who is going to preserve these 5 grains for 2-3 years? When he is going to come? I will throw it when he comes. From my granary, I will take 5 and give it." So she threw away those 5 grains. Then the second daughter-in-law, she took the 5 grains and she started thinking, these old people are very experienced people, and if they are given these 5 grains, they should be something definitely. Maybe these 5 grains have some magical power. He may say, "Come on, eat this, then someone I'll get some psychic power, or you will get a very good child, some blessing he may give. So why to wait till he comes? Better I eat it now." She swallowed the 5 grains. Now the third daughter, she also saw these 5 grains. She said, "Oh, this old man has said, who will preserve, he only will get the keys. So better I preserve very well." So she took a silver casket and put those 5 grains and put it in the front of the worshipping deity. And daily she used to worship that casket also, along with the deity. And then the fourth daughter, she took these 5 grains and she said, "Oh, these 5 grains have to be preserved. How should I preserve? What should I do?" Then she got an idea. She said, "Okay, I will better plant it in my backyard." So she planted these 5 grains. And 5 plants came up. And in every plant there were about 50 to 100 grains. Then after 3 months, those grains she took, again she planted in a what you call field. They had a very big field. And again they got so much of grains. And that again she planted. In 2-3 years, there was a big go down with all these grains. And after 2-3 years, this father-in-law came, and then he called all the 4 daughter-in-laws. And he said, "Well, where are those 5 grains? Have you preserved well?" So the first daughter said, "Oh, wait, I'll bring." She went into the kitchen and bought 5 grains and gave it to her. So the father-in-law laughed. "What grains I gave, that you are not returning. Huh? You're bringing from the kitchen and giving me?" He only laughed and kept quiet. Then he called the second daughter. "Where is that grain?" She said, "No, that grains actually I ate off thinking that I'll get some psychic power." The father-in-law touched his head and said, "What kind of daughter-in-law this is? She's always expecting for some miracles, some magics all the time." So he laughed and kept quiet. Then he called the third daughter. "Where is that 5 grains?" She hurriedly went to the deity and bought that casket and opened and showed the 5 grains. That 5 grains have become powder, fully destroyed. And she said, "What, daughter-in-law, I gave you 5 grains, you have given me the dust." "Oh, this is not the way to preserve." Then he kept quiet. Then he called a fourth daughter-in-law. She said, "I asked you I gave you 5 grains. Where are those 5 grains? How you are preserved?" Then she said, "Oh, father-in-law, call some laborers. There's full of go-downs, grains are there. You can collect it from there." And the father-in-law said, "What? How you did it?" He said, "What? I planted in my backyard. I got so many grains. Again, I replanted it. And like this, within 3 years, now full go-down is full of grains. You call your laborers and take all those grains." And the father-in-law is very happy. He said, "This is what is kind of daughter-in-law I was looking for. This is what is called preservation." So preservation is not just keeping, it is multiplying, propagating. That is there. Therefore, the bunch of key was given to this fourth daughter-in-law. So, in this story, it is a simile. That simile is, this father-in-law is no one but our Babasaheb Ambedkar. And these daughter-in-laws are none than our Ambedkarite Upasikas. And these Upasikas, most of the Upasikas like these 3, some Upasikas are expecting for magics and miracle, some have no interest at all to preserve. They don't have to propagate nothing. And only few upasikas are there, like this fourth daughter-in-law, who are propagating what Babasaheb gave. And what Babasaheb gave? Babasaheb gave you education. Babasaheb gave you Buddhism. How many of our upasikas are propagating Buddhism, you tell me? Today, if Buddhism is not being propagated in India, because most of our upasikas are like these three daughters. They are neither preserving, nor they don't know how to preserve, nor they are propagating to their relatives, nor they are teaching to their sons and daughters, nor they are telling to their mothers and sisters. They are doing no propagation at all. Just taking Babasaheb's benefits. They have made Babasaheb like an ATM card. Put the ATM card, take the reservation. Put the ATM card, take the job. Put the ATM card and take the promotions. Put the ATM card, take the political seats, MPs, MLAs. So Babasaheb has become just ATM card. What Babasaheb responsibility gave to you? He said, I want to make India a Prabuddha Bharata, enlightened India. And how you can make enlightened India? Unless you create enlightened people. And for enlightened people, it should be a scientific religion, a scientific temper, rational thinking. And Babasaheb thought that it is through the spread of Buddhism, the India will become enlightened India. So how many of Babasaheb's daughter-in-laws are propagating Buddhism? Ask yourself. So I hope from this story, at least from now onwards, the daughter-in-laws of Babasaheb Ambedkar, the daughters of Babasaheb Ambedkar will preserve, not only preserve Buddhism, will propagate Buddhism like this fourth daughter-in-law of this old man. And that way, you will be really worthy of Babasaheb's sacrifice. Otherwise, Babasaheb's sacrifice has gone waste. More than 60 years have gone, still our people don't know what the Buddhism. So the real propagation or real preservation can be done by the women folk. Because women are the first teachers of the children. If the women don't teach to the children about Buddha, about Babasaheb, about Mahatma Phule, then who is going to teach? Do you think this will be taught in the schools? No, schools will never teach. They will teach all kinds of blind belief, mythological figures, all kinds of humbug stories, illogical stories, non-historical, no archaeological evidence. Such kind of things are being taught in India. Therefore, our Indian education standard is not up. If you want good education, our people have to go to America, Australia, Europe. Indian degree has no value. Why? Because we have not developed that scientific temper, that rational thinking to our education. So education system is not in our hands. So it is better that our mothers, our upasikas, they take this responsibility and train their children in rational thinking and in scientific temper. And therefore, propagate Buddhism in this way. Not only propagate to your own family, but to your own relatives, to the whole of India. In that way, you will be doing a great service to Babasaheb's vision and mission, and also praying your gratitude and respect to Bhagwan Buddha also, and all those people who have sacrificed their life to propagate Buddhism not only in India, but throughout the world. So with that hope that you will preserve this Buddha's teaching and propagate this Buddha's teaching in your own home. No need to go outside. First, propagate in your own home. Today, the father, mother cannot convince the child. The children cannot convince father, mother. The husband cannot convince his wife to take Buddhism, and wife cannot convince her own husband to take Buddhism. Why? When you are taking all the benefits given by Babasaheb, why you are not taking Buddhism? Is this not ingratitude? Is this not ungratefulness? Just think yourself. How long you are going to be ungrateful people? How long you are going to have this ingratitude towards Buddha and Babasaheb? Babasaheb not only liberated just particular caste, the whole of women he liberated by bringing a Hindu code bill. Because that is the Buddha's teaching. Buddha was the first person in the history of humanity who gave women equality. He not only gave women equality, by ordaining them as nuns, he made them worthy of worship. Who made like that, you tell me, before Buddha? And even today, after Buddha, how many are ready to accept that? And yet, it is so sad that women are not worshipping Buddha or Babasaheb. For them, he is not a god. But the gods who have not cared them, they have, humiliated them, punished them, they have become a very Adarsha Purusha for them. This is the tragedy of our country and especially of the women folk. So on this day, I hope all the women, especially here, you read history. You don't accept just because I am telling. You read history. As Babasaheb has said, those who don't know history cannot create history. They always live in mystery. And they will never have mastery, but they will continue to do slavery. So come out of the slavery, show bravery, and have mastery. And that can happen through Buddhism. With that, I conclude. Thank you.